If you have been watching some of the recent videos that I've been uploading onto YouTube, you already know how bullish I am on stablecoins. And it's not just because I think that they are going to make us very rich off of the underlying networks that they are issued out on, but it's because of how big stablecoins actually are becoming and how integrated they are becoming as well within the global financial system. And Hedera is not shy to this game either, because Hedera has been absolutely killing the stablecoin game for quite some time. But before we really talk about Hedera, I want to talk about some of the stats behind the stablecoin market, because we've been seeing some great updates from some great names in this space, like A16Z, for an example, that have been putting a spotlight on stablecoins possibly being crypto's first killer app. We have here stablecoins may be crypto's first killer app, our first real shot at making it so that sending money is more like sending an email, open, instant, and borderless. People are already recognizing the advantages. In 2024 alone, stablecoins moved $15.6 trillion in value, effectively matching Visa's volume. Now, I do remember Bitwise posting this, which was in the middle of April, and we have something huge happened in 2024, and very few people are talking about it. For the first time ever, stablecoins outpaced Visa in volume. So we actually have here stablecoins versus Visa, and we did have more volume than Visa when it comes to stablecoin transactions, which is insane. But we also have over here, so how did stablecoins become poised to disrupt the global payments industry? And how can builders and businesses think about stablecoins? Well, here we have greater stablecoin adoption can significantly lower costs for enterprises. And we have three main players here being talked about: Walmart, Chipotle, and also Kroger. We have the transaction fees hurt many businesses' bottom lines. Reducing those fees via stablecoins could unlock massive profitability across businesses of all sizes. To illustrate this point more vividly, we could take a look at three public companies' fiscal year 2024 financials to approximate the effect of reducing payment processing to 0.1%. For convenience, this evaluation assumes that these businesses are paying a 1.6% blended payment processor cost and have minimal on/off-ramp cost. So Walmart made $648 billion in annual revenue with $15.5 billion in profit. They might pay about $10 billion in credit card fees. Eliminating payment fees, Walmart's profitability, controlling for all other factors, could increase by over 60% just through cheaper payment solutions. This is crazy as well. Chipotle made $9.8 billion in annual revenue. It might pay $148 million in credit card fees on a $1.2 billion annual profit. Their profitability could increase by 12% just by reducing payment processing fees. And then, of course, Kroger as well has the most to gain because it has the lowest margins. And we could actually see that their net income and cost of payments may be almost equal. Like many grocers, its margins are below 2%. So when we think about all of this, all right, these are just three major businesses that could benefit greatly. This is also showing us that it might not happen, in 1 year, but almost every single business, every single major enterprise name out there will be switching to stablecoins, DLT, blockchain. Like when we think about stablecoins, a lot of people just think like, oh, it's great for the stablecoin market, but what about altcoins? Like what about these networks? People forget that stablecoins are not just moving by themselves. They're moving over these networks. So for an example, stablecoins on Hedera could, impact these costs greatly because of how low the fee on transactions for Hedera actually are. This is why I suspect that a lot of these great names in the space, like Hedera, are going to see a massive inflow of volume and value once stablecoins get adopted in a big way. And talking about that, Reese Merrick, actually from Ripple, recently highlighted a post, which I did include in a video recently, talking about how Stablecoin Supply just surpassed 1% of global M2 money supply. This is insane. Stablecoins are now making up 1% of all the global money supply. So we are already at the beginning stages of stablecoins becoming one of the biggest things that crypto has to offer. But stablecoins are nothing by themselves. You still need that underlying network that's very efficient to use. But also the Treasury, right? The Treasury recently just put out a report talking about how stablecoins could reach $2 trillion by 2028. That's a 10x almost from where we are at right now. And this is because they're becoming the internet's version of cash, always liquid, always on, and increasingly plugged into global finance. Their growth could boost demand for US Treasury bills, meaning governments now have a financial incentive to support stablecoins beyond regulation. Will stablecoin growth become the thing both Wall Street and Washington can agree on? And we could actually see the growth here. It's about, almost a 10x gain. Now, just think about what that means for a lot of the underlying networks. I'm very excited about this. And also, right, 2 trillion by 2028. Within the next 2 years, Citigroup believes that almost $1 trillion more could be added to the stablecoin market. Every big player is now betting big on stablecoins. Every giant is now going all in on the stablecoin narrative. And this makes me think about how ahead of the game Hedera was, right? We go back to 2023 when Hedera announced the Hedera Stablecoin Studio, the all-in-one stablecoin configuration, issuance, and management toolkit tailored for Web3 platforms, institutional issuers, enterprises, and payment providers alike. This is a game changer because it's fully compliant, fully regulated. And again, this is back in 2023, back when nobody even cared about stablecoins. They actually thought that stablecoins were just like just a piece of crypto. What was the killer app? What's the killer app around crypto? Is it, gaming? Is it DeFi? Is it this? Is that? Payments have always been the big thing in my mind that makes so much sense. It's not even just about, the tech side of things. It's not even about, the efficiencies. It's how antiquated our financial system actually is. It needs an upgrade. Now, the efficiencies and the tech and things like that, it's all great. But the fact that we are at a point in time where the financial system is so ripe for disruption, that's the biggest thing for me. And we already have it. We already have it in front of us. Stablecoins are a huge thing, but having these networks like Hedera plug and played within the financial system to actually have these stablecoins, transacted and settled on, that's the game changer. That's the killer app. Now, talking about that, we also go back to just January of this year. We're still waiting on the big announcement from this, but a group of leading Filipino banks, including Union Bank, Rizal Commercial Banking, and Quintillion Bank, are set to launch PHPX, a multi-issuer peso stablecoin on the Hedera blockchain network. This stablecoin aims to revolutionize cross-border payments, particularly remittances, by enabling faster, real-time transactions beyond remittances. PHPX also has the potential to drive larger cross-border trade and domestic retail payments. This is something that I'm watching for because I do think that this will actually accelerate the adoption of Hedera around stablecoin initiatives. Now, this was announced back in January. We have yet to see an update from this, but I do suspect that in the second half of this year, we will see a big update regarding this. But also, stablecoins on Hedera are going insane. From the H graph, we actually see stablecoin market cap on Hedera over the past 14 days has grown from 81.4 million to $130 million. This is in 2 weeks. Over 980% from this time last year as well. Now, when we actually think about this, the overall volume on Hedera around stablecoins is just insane. 130.8 million we're sitting at right now. We could see the past month, we could see the past week as well. But on top of that, we just go back to April 24th when, the HBAR Foundation posted USDC 113.5 million. Again, you could see how fast things are changing just from these two images alone. And we're only about 14 days, 2 weeks out from these posts. Like it's crazy to me. Now, all of this is being accelerated by the stablecoin initiatives launching on Hedera. It's not just about the Stablecoin Studio, right? Like this is a game changer because when we go back to that initial post from A16Z, we're talking about enterprise players. We're talking about, businesses. The Stablecoin Studio was built for businesses like this that actually want to launch a stablecoin initiative or tap into stablecoins themselves. This is why I think that a lot of these studios that Hedera is actually launching, like they have the tokenization studio, they have the stablecoin studio. I believe that they also have an NFT studio as well. But all of these things, that Hedera has, like, you might think that they're just like, another announcement, that they're like meaningless or whatever. But when we actually look at these types of initiatives, this is kind of similar to what Ripple is doing, right? How Ripple has the Ripple custody, Ripple payments, Ripple this, Ripple that. It's all pieces to make sure that they have this all-in-one umbrella for these big players that want to actually tap into these Web3 services. So the fact that Hedera has these things, like you look at the ecosystem, you have all of these categories around these use cases, but then when you actually look at the solutions, you have all of these three on the left side, which is the tokenization studio, the stablecoin studio, and then Hedera Guardian. Having all of this stuff under one umbrella is a game changer. It's a huge deal. And even when we think about some of these studios, like there's already a lot of adoption around these specific pieces, and we only continue to see that grow and grow and grow and grow. And the reason why I say that is because, something like this PHPX stablecoin, this is using the Hedera Stablecoin Studio. I'm telling you guys right now, that is a big game changer in the world where stablecoins are becoming a massive piece of not just crypto. It's always been a big piece of crypto, but it's now becoming a big piece of TradFi as well. And I'm very excited about this. And like I said, over the last couple months, the reason why USDC on Hedera has been growing so much is because of exchanges like crypto.com, Binance, and even players like Alchemy Pay supporting Hedera's USDC. This is Hedera's native USDC. And we could see just how big of an impact the support for Hedera's USDC has been by watching the growth of USDC issued on Hedera. I do think that this is just the beginning. I think that stablecoins on Hedera are going to be multiples of billions of dollars. And who knows, right? If we're thinking about how fast the stablecoin market is actually growing and these projections that are being given to us, by the way, this is a projection by the US Treasury. Like, it doesn't get more bullish than that. But if the Treasury is telling us that they see a $2 trillion market cap by 2028, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that this becomes a reality. Why would they do that? Well, because it provides them with holders of US Treasuries. Because stablecoin issuers are going to hold Treasury bills to support their USD denominated stablecoins. We see this happening even with Tether. We see it happening with Ripple with RLUSD. I mean, they actually have a financial incentive to make sure that this becomes a reality. So 2 trillion by 2028. Citi is telling us 3.7 trillion by 2030. You're talking about a $1.7 trillion gain in just 2 years alone. So think about how accelerated everything around this market's going to, be in just a couple years from now. This is why I'm focused on projects like Hedera. This is why I continue to focus on stablecoins, because I do think that this could be, the killer app. I also think that this could be the thing that leads to mass adoption of the underlying tech. Because when you're going to be utilizing stablecoins, you're really not going to see the underlying network. You're not going to know that Hedera is settling these transactions. You're not going to see that side of the transaction. You're just going to know that stablecoins work. I could send and receive stablecoins like it's nothing. I don't know what network I'm using. Having something like this with a solid user interface, maybe through a banking app, maybe through a big player like, for an example, like these big banks like Citi. If Citi did, start to tap into the stablecoin market, that's an immediate exposure to, millions and millions of customers. So just think about how easy mass adoption could become if you start to see players like Walmart, Chipotle, Kroger, the big banks as well, tapping into stablecoin initiatives. I'm very excited about the future. I think that this is going to be huge for Hedera as well. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.